So last class, we were talking about cross elasticity of demand. So quickly, I am going to finish this elasticity. So here, cross elasticity, we are measuring how sensitive demand for a particular product with respect to change in price of its substitute or complementary item. Okay. So these three we discuss in the context of, say, in the context of elasticity of demand. Okay. But at the same time, in certain books, you may find some of that concept of elasticity, like elasticity of future price expectation. So that I am not discussing right now, but rather I am discussing elasticity of supply. Elasticity of supply. So anyway, under elasticity of supply, I'll make it little bit bigger. So under elasticity of supply, quite similar with elasticity of demand, but here to distinguish it, I am using elasticity of supply means actually we are discussing price elasticity of supply. So elasticity of supply quite similar with elasticity of demand. Here percentage change in quantity. In case of price elasticity of demand, we consider percentage change in quantity demanded. But here we discuss percentage change in quantity supplied. With respect to percentage change in price of the commodity. So in other way, it will be dq by dp into P by Q. But to make this difference with elasticity of demand, you can use a S here. It's up to you. Means here QS means quantity supplied. PS means supply price in market. At what price you are supplying something in market. QS means quantity supplied, PS is supply price in the market. So in that way, and in general, by default, you know, if you know the law of supply or supply curve in general, you know it is a positively related with change in price. Quantity supplied is positively related. So by default, you will get a positive value. So this is your price elasticity of supply, means how sensitive quantity supply of a particular product with respect to change in price of the commodity. Okay. But as I said repeatedly or so many times that be careful about one fact, that is this elasticity concept we discuss in n different use in n different way. And next discussion I am going to discuss about production and cost quickly, because we are much behind and there are hardly 3-4 lectures left. So we are at least 2-3 lectures short. to cover whole syllabus. I do not know how much I will be able to cover, but let's see some important discussion we can discuss, we can talk about. So production and cost I will be able to finish, but along with that, there are some other related topic. I'm not very much sure how much I will be able to do. Even in production, I will bring this concept of elasticity. After some time, I will give example that how elasticity is even appearing in production. Okay. So initially we are discussing production. And once we proceed little bit about production, then we will talk about cost. Now, what do we mean by production? Someone may ask you that when we are talking about production, say you are producing something. What do we mean by production? What do we mean by production? Quick reply if you like to respond. Otherwise, I will not wait because we are much behind. We are much behind. If you are interested, you can reply. Otherwise, I will reply. I will not wait much. Any idea about production? Production is a process by which you are converting inputs into output. Layman's definition. Production is a process by which you are converting input into output. This is just like a layman, you can say. But if you want to refine that definition, this is not a classical definition, then you can express it in other way. Like production is a process by which inputs are converted into output with more value addition. Think about, suppose right now you are using pen, suppose, or for writing something. So for using this pen, you might be using a piece of plastic. If I offer you this piece of plastic with a price of say 2 rupee or 3 rupee, you will simply refuse because that piece of plastic doesn't have any meaning to you. But same thing, if I convert it into a pen, I combined it with ink, finish it, I made it just like a finished product where different inputs are coming into picture. Like while producing this pen, you might be using, say, labor services. You might be using different raw materials like I mentioned about plastic, like steel, like your ink, like different color, and so and so. Then along with that, you might be using other inputs like machine. You might be having a factory or production unit where you are producing it. Means you might be having a building. So in that way, there are n different inputs. And when you are combining all these inputs and you are adding value, because when you are converting into a pen, this pen you are ready to pay, maybe even 10 rupee, 15, 20, or even maybe more, depending upon what kind of product you are using it or what kind of quality you are using it. Quality product you are producing. So when you are converting this into a pen, all these inputs, ultimately it become more useful. Because of that, you are ready to purchase. Because of that, you are ready to purchase. So in that way, this production, you can say, is a process by which inputs are converted into output. Now, already I explained what do I mean by here inputs. I give examples also. But this production, we discussed it under two different situations. One is long run and another is short run. Long run and short run. And earlier, what I mentioned about long run and short run, by default, assume that long run is a situation where time period is sufficiently long. Short run is a time period where it is very, very short. Something like that, I give a layman's explanation about this one. But in production, we try to define or we try to explain what is long run, what is short run in economic terms. That I am going to explain it. Because whole production we are going to discuss under two different situations. One is long run, another is short run. And in our example, you already got the idea about output. Output may be anything that comes out from the process of production. Anything that goes into the process of production is input. Anything that comes out from the process of production is called output. Say, for example, I am a farmer, I am producing rice. I am a farmer in a piece of land, I am just cultivating rice. Okay. And finally, I am after harvest, I got rice or paddy, you can say, the raw form. Or finally, you may get even rice. Now, here, different inputs may be the piece of land itself is a input. Land is an input. Here, I am using labor, maybe hired labor service, maybe my own labor, whatever it is, human labor, that may be an input. Okay. Here, I might be using high yielding varieties. That may be an input. Here, I might be using animal labor like bullock for plowing of land and other things. I might be using bullock labor or animal labor. That is an input. Partially, I might be using even tractor also or some machine labor. So human labor, animal labor, machine labor, different labor categorization may be there. Then you might be using high yielding variety, irrigation, fertilizer, pesticides, other chemicals, or organic manure, and so and so. So there may be n different inputs. By combining all these inputs, ultimately your final product is, after a certain period, you are getting final product, that is paddy or rice. Processed one is called rice. So anything that goes into the process of production is called input. Anything that comes out from the process of production is called output. I believe it is clear to you. Now, think about these two situations, short run and long run. In economics, short run represents a time period where certain inputs will be fixed and certain inputs are variable. Certain inputs are fixed, certain inputs are variable in nature. In short run. In short run, it represents a time period where you are getting certain inputs are fixed in nature, certain inputs are variable in nature. Okay. But in long run, all of your inputs are variable in nature. For example, say I am talking about producing rice. So in my production of rice, I am using 1 hectare of land. So this land is fixed here in that process of production. The moment I define that 1 hectare of land is fixed here. Because I am cultivating this land and I started growing rice here. So in that particular production season, I cannot change that land. If I am considering a production period of say 3 months, so land is fixed. There might be permanent labor who are working in my field. So in that case, they might be permanent labor, so they are fixed in nature. I might probably purchase a machine like a power tiller. Already I pay, and that power tiller I am using it for plowing of this land or preparing that land. So that power tiller is coming under fixed input because irrespective of level of output, that input is not variable in nature. Say whether I can produce 1 ton of rice or I may produce even 15 ton of rice. Irrespective of level of output, these inputs remain fixed, But think about a situation that, okay, I want to produce 15 tons of rice. Then might be initially I am producing 1 ton of rice, might be half of this land I am using it, but whatever it is, this is not changing. Say for example, I'm giving you another example, simple example. I mentioned that you are using a pen. I am having a production unit. I am having a particular house where I am producing. I purchase a machine also for converting this one, a machine for production of pen, and so and so. Whether I produce 1 unit of this pen, whether I use 1 unit of this pen, or I produce in this particular house production unit 1 million unit of this pen, units of this pen, what will happen? This room size remains same. This number of machine remains same. I am considering a time period of suppose say 15 days, 1 month, something like that. There might be in my production unit, I might be using a few, maybe 10 permanent labor, 10 permanent labor. So irrespective of level of output, they remain fixed. These are called example of fixed input. But here, depending upon that level of output, I may change certain inputs. Like if I produce 1 unit, my requirement of plastic will be very small quantity. If I produce 1 million unit of this pen, my requirement of plastic will be different. So in this case, plastic is an example of variable input. Depending upon the level of output, this quantity of required or plastic requirement of plastic vary. Like your casual labor. Casual labor means daily wage labor. If I produce only 1 unit, requirement of labor will be very less. If I produce 1 million unit, requirement of plastic will be, casual labor will be very high. So this is an example, depending upon the level of output, these are the inputs which quantity may vary. So because of that, these are called variable input. Like consumption of electricity or electricity. If I produce 1 unit, might be machine run for 1 hour. If I produce 1 million unit, might be machine is running for 24 hours under different shifts. So electricity consumption will vary. So electricity is another input. So this is a variable input, means depending upon the level of output, how many output you are producing, these variable inputs quantity vary. But fixed input remain fixed, like this building size, factory. No change. Number of machine, no change, because you are considering this time period of say 15 days, 1 month. No change. So this is an example of fixed input and variable input. And in short run, you will find 2 types of inputs. One is fixed input, another is variable input. But in long run, all of your inputs will be variable in nature, because suppose I am considering a time period of say 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I am considering a time period of 20 years. When I am considering a time period of 20 years, what will happen? In a 20-year time period, my factory may change. Instead of 1 unit, I may think about producing this pen in 2 different inputs, 2 different units, because I am considering a 20 years time period. Time period is very long. Number of permanent staff may change in a 20-year time period. Short run, short time period, it is not changing, but number of permanent labor may change even in my factory if I consider a 20-year time period. Number of machine may change if I consider a 20-year time period. So all of your inputs will be variable if time period is long. So in long run, you will have only variable input, no fixed input in long run. So accordingly, if I consider that you are producing a particular product, Q represents quantity produced, say rice or pen, number of units, and so, which will be a function of so many inputs like labor, like capital, so many land, building, so many inputs may be there. But in real life, we consider n number of factors because we are using computer softwares. We are expressing in this way, production function. This represents that output produce of a particular commodity is a function of land, labor, capital, all the inputs. And we are using computer softwares, econometric software. So because of that, in reality, we are considering so many inputs. But for your simple discussion in a two-dimensional space, what we do, because we cannot consider at a time so many inputs. So what we usually do, we express production is a function of labor and capital. We combine all the variable input under labor and all the fixed input under capital, if it is a short run. And if it is a short run production function, you know, in short run production function, certain inputs are fixed, certain inputs are variable. So all the fixed inputs are clubbed under K bar. K bar means capital, not zero, it is at certain level. Value is at certain level. Okay. But if it is a long run, production function, we express output is a function of labor and capital. Both are variable in nature because in long run, there is no concept of fixed input. But in short run, you will find certain inputs are fixed, certain inputs are variable. Variable is represented by L, all the fixed inputs are represented by capital. Say I'm giving you an example. Say, for example, one example may be because your output depend upon what? Capital is at certain level, fixed. So quantity produced is mostly depend upon change of labor. So one production equation may be minus L cube plus 15 L square plus 10 L. Means output dependent upon labor. L represents here labor. How many labor you are using it. This is a representation of your variable input. It may be fertilizer also. Meaning is all other inputs are at certain level. All other. You are producing a pen. You are going to produce a pen. So your factory is already set up. Machine is already there. Raw material already arranged. Everything is arranged except labor. What you started doing it? You started increasing labor one by one. When you introduce one labor, you may get some value of output. When you introduce 2, 3, 4, 5, in that way you are going on increasing labor. Accordingly, your T will go on increasing. Okay, it will follow certain particular pattern. I will explain it that. But remember, this production depends upon whether it is short run or long run, because some of these issues will be same. It depends upon certain assumptions. It depends upon some of these assumptions, your production function. One assumption is that only two inputs you are considering, labor and capital, because we are considering a two-dimensional space to draw different diagram. Because please remember, although I am talking about diagram, but say this production equation, suppose I mentioned it. This you can solve it in a tabular form. You can solve it with the help of diagrammatically or with the help of a graph. Or you can solve it with the help of a numerically. In fraction of second, you can solve it. So 3 different ways you can solve it, this same production process. That I'm going to show you quickly. But before that, let me explain the basic assumptions of production. One is only two inputs you are considering, labor and capital. In short run, fixed inputs remain inelastic. Inelastic means what? Irrespective of level of output, capital remain fixed here. Irrespective of level of output, capital remain fixed. In short run, one input is fixed in nature, which will be inelastic in nature. But in case of labor, along with increase in labor, output may increase. Output may increase at an increasing rate, constant rate, and so and so. I will explain it sometime later, but there is a relationship. Then remember another issue, that is technology is at certain level in both short run and long run. Okay, one factor is both short run or long run, whatever may be the case, technology is at certain level. Means even in long run, we assume that technology is at certain level. Why? Because earlier to change a technology, you require 100 years, 200 years. Because of that, even in long run, we assume that technology is constant, not zero. Technology is at certain level. Only in very long run time period, very long time period, we consider technology may change. But otherwise, we assume that your technology is at certain level. That is by default we assume. Another is during our discussion, like short run or long run, we assume that input price is given. Input price means what? Price for labor or price for capital, whatever it is. There is no change in input price during the process of discussion. Otherwise, what will happen? There will be your value may change. During the process of, we are not considering that value of labor or value of capital is zero. We are not considering that one. We are considering only that it is at certain level. During the time of discussion, input price is not changing at certain level, constant. Another assumption may be, so in that way, another assumption may be your, in long run, labor can substitute capital or capital can substitute labor at a decreasing rate up to certain extent. Because if you look at your production process, say I am in long run, suppose both are variable in nature. Someone may say that I am producing pen, but my production process is more labor intensive. Labor intensive means I am using more and more labor. Another producer might be there who is producing the same quantity of pen or similar way, but his production process is capital intensive. Means he is using more and more capital in the process of production. More machinery and so. More sophisticated production process he is following. So some producers' production process may be more labor intensive. Some producers' processing activity may be more capital intensive. Okay, that may be there. But if you say that I will replace labor totally by capital, then that is not possible. That I am saying it. The assumption says labor can substitute capital or capital can substitute labor at a decreasing rate up to certain extent. Why? Because if someone may say that no, my production is fully mechanized production or fully machine operated, then even switch on the machine, you need a labor. So 100% replacement of labor is not at all possible. Even to switch on the machine, you need a labor. If anything goes wrong in your machine, who will be there to look after? So you need at least minimum labor to go for a smooth production process. 100% replacement may be a catastrophic in any production process. Because of that, you can say that labor can substitute capital or capital can substitute labor at a decreasing rate up to certain extent. Okay. And here, your production is a continuous production function, means using a small quantity of labor, you can, or capital, you can produce a small quantity of output. using a small quantity of labor or capital or n capital, you can use a small quantity of output. Means ultimately you are going to get a continuous production function. If you have anything to ask, you can ask me. Some of that assumption, in that way I discuss it. I think maybe 4 or 5 assumption I mentioned. Anyway, suppose now, please remember, I am concentrating more right now on, say, on your short-run production. Right now, I am concentrating more on this one. Long run, I will bring it sometime later. So right now, using this equation, I am trying to discuss short-run production process. Now, what I say, that you can solve this equation maybe in a tabular form. Suppose you do not know the value of labor. The condition is something like that. I am telling you. Suppose you are producing a pen in a factory. Suppose in a room. Room is your factory. So room is ready. You have a machine also, 1 or 2 machine, whatever it is. That is also there. You purchase raw material, electricity, everything is ready except labor. But you do not know the value of labor. So what happened? First column in a tabular form, you can think about maybe first column as your labor. You can start it, you can start it maybe from 1, 2, 3, 4, so and so. You can go on. Then you can also calculate, based on these values, you can calculate total product with respect to labor. This is nothing but Q. I'm writing it below. I think that will be better. I'm writing it below here. Suppose Q equal to minus L cube plus 15L square plus 10L. So first you put 1, 2, 3, 4 in that way. Then total product with respect to labor is nothing but Q. You will get certain value. When you put value of L, labor, you will get some value. Then for 2 unit of labor, in that way you will get different value. You can calculate it. Another concept, because simultaneously I'm discussing certain other concept also. Another concept you will find, this is average product with respect to labor. This is nothing but total product with respect to labor divided by L. Average product with respect to labor, or let me make it more simple. Let me make it more simple. That is, average product with respect to labor is nothing but Q by L. Q is already mentioned it here. Q by L means total product which is divided by labor. You will get some value. First column divided by second column divided by first column. Average product means on an average, how many units of a particular product? Q means what? How many units or how many inputs of a particular product on an average one labor is producing. Another concept you will find, that is your marginal product with respect to labor. Marginal product with respect to labor. That is what? First order derivative of total product with respect to labor. Or in other way, you can say dQ by dL. This is, you are getting different value, marginal product. Okay, total product, average product, marginal product. In that way, you can go on. Okay, I believe it is okay. Now, this is an example of your, and this kind of relationship we discuss with the help of, in the short run, you will find the concept of law of diminishing marginal, law of diminishing marginal return. Law of diminishing marginal return, this concept you are getting it. Okay. How we express it in this case? When more and more unit of a variable input is added to a certain amount of fixed input, the output will initially increase at an increasing rate, then it will increase at a constant rate, then it will increase at a decreasing rate. Means, what I mean to say, this is one way of expressing that relationship in tabular form. But if you try to express it in a graphical way, graphically, if you like to express it, then what will happen? This side will be labor. You are using labor. And this side will depends upon, this side will be your, now these values you are plotting in a graph paper, suppose labor x-axis, and suppose total product with respect to labor. My diagram is not very good, but this will be the graph for total product with respect to labor. Maybe you may find something like that, similar kind of shape that I am talking about. With respect to, say, marginal product, this diagram is not very good. You may find marginal product with respect to this kind of shape you will find. With respect to, say, average product, you may find a curve something like this. As product with respect to labor. So you may find such kind of relationship if you provide. So accordingly, here you may find average product with respect to labor or this graph. Another is maybe marginal product with respect to labor. Another may be your total product with respect to labor. So y-axis accordingly different value may come, because you can draw it separately, but ultimately there is supposed to be three different graph you are supposed to get. And what law of diminishing marginal returns is? What law of diminishing marginal returns is? What we wrote it here. Law of diminishing marginal return, what I mentioned it here. Law of diminishing marginal return says that when more and more unit of a variable input, labor is a variable input, is added to a certain amount of fixed input, because your original equation is something like that, labor and K bar. This is something like that. So when more and more unit of a variable input is added to a certain amount of fixed input, because in our example, what I say your other things are at certain level, means your factory is already ready, raw material already purchased, machine is there, only labor was not there. So you started increasing one by one unit of labor. So in this case, what is happening? When more and more unit of a variable input is added to a certain amount of fixed input, the output will initially increase at an increasing rate. Output is increasing here at an increasing rate. Then it is increasing at a constant rate. Then it is increasing at a decreasing rate, output here. And finally, even in extreme case, it may decrease also your output. Total product with respect to labor means what? Q means output. So output is initially increasing at an increasing rate, then it will increase at a constant rate, then it will increase at a decreasing rate. And in extreme case, even that possibility may be there that it may decrease also. Say, for example, suppose variable input is, say, labor, and optimal requirement of labor in your production unit is suppose 15 labor. You do not know. Optimal requirement of labor in your production is suppose 15 unit, but that value you do not know that it is the optimal unit. What you did, you recruited maybe 20 labor. When more labor is there than actual requirement, some of these labor are underutilized, some of them are busy in non-productive activities, some of them are busy in forming labor union, some of them are without informing anyone, some of them are might be taking a casual leave, something like that. It may happen, and your production may suffer even because of that. Say if it is an example of suppose our rice, production of rice, what I say it here. Say you are producing some rice, suppose here. Fertilizer is the variable. So initially no fertilizer was there, you increase, applied 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kg, 5 kg, 10 kg. You are going on, but you cross the limit. Then because of toxicity of nutrient, your crop will die. Your crop will die because of toxicity of nutrient. So that possibility is so instead of getting a higher value of output, your output may even go down. So that possibility is there. This is an extreme case. No one is going to apply to that level. Now, based on this basic discussion, whole production phase, you can, depending upon labor, application of labor, you can divide into 3 different phases. One is, or 3 different stages. One is stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. These 3 stages of production depend upon your application of labor, variable input, is having certain characteristics. Say, for example, I'm telling you, say in stage 1, the production of marginal, in stage 1, the marginal product is increasing at the beginning. It reaches its maximum point in stage 1 itself, reaches its maximum point of reflection, you can say, point of reflection here. It reaches maximum point. Then in stage 1 itself, marginal product starts decreasing. Stage 1 ends when marginal product is equal to average product. Or stage 1, throughout that stage, average product is increasing, it become maximum. Average product is maximum in at the end of stage 1, where marginal product and average product is equal. Then stage 2, This is the end of stage 1. Stage 2, both marginal product and average product is decreasing. Marginal product is decreasing in stage 1 itself. But in stage 2, marginal product is also decreasing, average products also starts decreasing, because after maximum level it starts decreasing. But rate of decrease of marginal product is much higher than average product. Stage 2 ends when your marginal product is equal to 0, or when total product is maximum. Stage 2 ends when marginal product is equal to 0. Stage 3, marginal product is negative, total product is also decreasing, so and so. So no rational producer will try to produce in stage 3. Because your inputs are not freely available. First of all, your inputs are not freely available. You need to spend money to purchase or arrange this labor or whatever input, variable input, freely not available. So no producer will go to produce at stage 3 or to apply that level of labor, where by applying more unit of labor, your output is decreasing. Instead of getting more and more unit of output, your output is rather decreasing. So no producer will go and produce in stage 3. Question arises that which stage out of this, then stage 1 and stage 2, which stage you are going to produce and why? Quickly, if you like to respond, quickly, hardly 2 minutes or maybe 2-3 minutes, I have to finish it. Which stage you are going to produce and why? Out of these two, 3 is out. Already I explained.
So maybe 1.
Why?
Because the average, the APL is maximum, and also with minimum labor we get a good output.
So some of this concept I am yet to explain to you. So do not worry if you are making a mistake, because here it is little bit related with cost also. No doubt your stage 1 you can say, because marginal product is maximum, but in all the production we are basically concerned about average product and average cost. Average product give you on an average how many units of output each and every unit of labor is on an average is contributing. Increasing throughout that stage, average product is increasing, and it become maximum at the end of that stage. In front of you, this graph is there. Because of that, you can guess it. But in reality, such kind of graph will not be there. Each and every case, suppose you use 1 unit of labor, second unit, third unit, each and every case you are going back calculation. Back means after applying third unit of labor, getting the output, then you calculated what is the average product, what is the marginal product, what is my total product against this one. In that way, each and every case you are going on increasing, calculating. Now, throughout that stage, increasing average product means what? Output is increasing on an average rate. Average cost of production is decreasing, because if you, I am yet to explain it, but what is the equation for average cost? Total cost divided by Q. Q is increasing, denominator is increasing, total cost is increasing. I assume that at a constant rate. Constant rate means suppose labor I am hiring from labor market at fixed rate. So at a particular proportionate rate, it is increasing, but denominator output is increasing at a much higher rate. So ultimately, average cost is decreasing rather. Each and every application of labor, it is decreasing. So when average cost of production is decreasing against addition of more and more unit of labor, you are getting more output, and ultimately average cost of production is decreasing. So as long as you are realizing maximum point, not realizing maximum point, you will go on applying more and more unit of labor. Now question arises here that how will you know that this is my maximum point? If this graph is not there, how will you know that this is my maximum average product? To realize that one, you have to enter into second stage. You have applied 1 additional unit of labor. Corresponding value of average product, you calculated it out. And you realize that in comparison to my previous average product, present average product is less. Meaning is previous unit of labor up to this level of labor, when I apply, I got the maximum average product. Because against this one, suppose a hypothetical value, do not try to tally because you will get a different value. Suppose this was your 10 value of 10 unit of labor at level, this one you use it, and here suppose it is 11 unit. The moment you use 11 unit of 11th unit of labor or total labor you are using it 11, total average product decrease. Then you realize that no, optimal utilization of labor in my production is 10 unit of labor. So to realize that one, you already entered second stage because graph is not in front of you. Equation fraction of second you can solve it. Okay. How you can solve it? I can tell you how you can solve it. Because this is the maximum unit. The point, so this will be your, actually technically speaking, it is the beginning of, it is the point where first stage is ending and second stage is beginning. But in real life, you do not have this one, this graph. Because of that, your production decision will be at the beginning of stage 2. Because the moment you enter stage 2, you realize that average product decrease, immediately you stop adding additional unit of labor. You will not no more add additional unit of labor. So your production decision will be at the beginning of stage 2. How will you can find it out this exact value in fraction of second? I'm telling you. First you calculate. Yeah, exactly. First you calculate average product equation. Average product is divided by Q. It will be minus L square plus 15L plus 10. This is now you know dAPL by DL will be equal to 0, slope at maximum point. So if you go for this one, and equate it with 0, minus 2i's L plus 15 equal to 0, means L equal to 7.5. When you use L at 7.5 unit, your output will be maximum. Means average product is maximum, that will be your exact production decision. Means this many units of labor you are going to use it. Now some of you might be thinking that, okay, how labor can become 7.5? Either it may be 7 or it may be 8. But please remember that I didn't mention that this unit of labor is only one. It may be labor, maybe unit of labor may be 100 or 1,000. It's a big industry, suppose. If it is 100, then what will happen? It will be 750 labor, 750. So no need to worry whether it is 7.5 or 7.35, whatever it is. Do not worry for that one. Your purpose is to calculate it exactly, so you can. Any question if you have, because time is up, and let me save it first. I need to go actually somewhere, but anyway. If you have any question, you can ask me.